What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to be analyzing my top 16 match versus Lega, who's a phenomenal player from Germany. This match was very interesting to me because it was a RayOgre mirror match, and other than Marcus, it was the only RayOgre that I played all day. The video might lag a little bit. I'm really sorry about that. I'm really trying my best. I just spent like literally half an hour trying to make it not lag, and like I cut the face cam and everything just to try and make it not lag. So I'm really sorry. I'm trying my best here. The original video is a little laggy as well. Yes, but yeah, I'm gonna pause this right here so that I can, like, before we start, so I can talk about some stuff. First of all, I'd like to thank Wolfey who recorded this match. It wasn't on stream, which is part of why I want to commentate over it and just to provide some thought process, like my thought process going in, because I want you guys to be able to see it, because I really do think it's a really good match, and really interesting as well, especially if like you want to know how to use the team and what's important, because there's not a lot of my games versus RayOgre on stream because I only played versus Marcus, and that was kind of a weird RayOgre mirror match as well. So, yes, with that in mind, again, thank you to Wolfey for recording this, and yeah, so some background on this match. There I was, going into the top 16, and I'm a little nervous because if you look at my team, I don't really have much for Ferrothorn. The only move I have that can even hit it for close combat, or for neutral or for super effective damage, is close combat. And the fact of the matter is that Hitmontop has eject button, and close combat isn't even that strong. Especially as you can see, Lega has an intimidate Pokemon, Landorus T, and every single one of his Pokemon, other than his Ferrothorn, is faster than my Hitmontop, and so that's like pretty important and pretty significant because like he can activate my eject button before I'm able to do anything, and he can also like KO it with strong Pokemon like Rayquaza, Kyogre, Kangaskhan. Thundurus and Landorus don't do as much, but I believe Lega's Landorus is Life Orb, so it will actually do a fair amount of damage. And of course, Ferrothorn, like the fact that it's not even KO'd by close combat is pretty important because it can just leftovers and leech seed back the health that it loses. So going into this matchup, I expected Lega to bring some combination of Rayquaza, Ferrothorn, Kyogre, and one more. I thought either Landorus or Kangaskhan had a place. Kangaskhan is like not a bad pick at all. It's like really solid. It's not as good versus Hitmontop, but it's overall a really solid Pokemon. It does a lot of damage to my team, especially if I choose to leave Gengar on the bench, which I was planning on doing. The only downside to bringing Kangaskhan is it meant that Lega could not Mega Evolve his Rayquaza, which is pretty important because that meant that my Rayquaza would always have the speed advantage. So yes, going into this match, I thought Ferrothorn was really important. I thought Ferrothorn was a crucial piece of his team, and yeah, I think the way that I'm going to do this is I'm just going to go ahead and like provide my thought process. So at team preview, I recognize that Raichu is like really good here. Obviously, like versus RayOgre, I almost always bring the same stuff. I bring Raichu, Kyogre, Rayquaza, and Hitmontop in some order, and so I believe we're just going to go ahead and skip some of this time so that save everybody time. I think the video goes blurry a little bit. Yeah, it's a little blurry. So that looks like Rayquaza and Raichu to me. So I will end up leading off with Rayquaza and Raichu. Sorry, and this will clear up soon. I know it's really blurry. Whereas Lega goes for Kyogre and Thundurus is what I believe. As soon as this clears up, I'll let you know, because this is actually a super interesting position. I think what I did was actually like pretty clever. So let's talk about this, right? Let's see, clearing up. Oh, so nice. Cool. Okay, let's talk about what's going on here. Wait, I'll pause it a better time so you can see all the Pokemon in the field. Okay, what's the obvious move here? The obvious move is to fake out the Kyogre. I give up. The obvious move here is to fake out the Kyogre and Swords Dance, right? Because I knew that Lega had Thunder Wave, Thunderbolt, Swagger, and Taunt, I believe, on his Thundurus. So he only had Taunt and Swagger for my Rayquaza. And so I was like, okay, I can pretty safely go fake out Swords Dance here, right? Because Raichu redirects Thunder Wave and Thunderbolt, and Taunt and Swagger aren't that good versus Rayquaza. Of course, he could Taunt. And that's actually what I ended up thinking, because I was like, wait a second. He could Taunt my Rayquaza, or he could just Swagger me. And like, if he Swaggers me and that goes poorly, I've lost my Focus Sash, and now I'm in a situation where turn 2 I have to hit one of two Dragon Ascents to have a chance of like not being like wrecked, and if that goes poorly, it's really bad. And so even though the obvious move here, and let's just go ahead and skip like 30 seconds. Boop. Okay, so even though the obvious move here is just, fake out Swords Dance, I actually like reconsidered, and I thought that he might taunt, but just in case, I do Mega Evolve my Rayquaza here because in this matchup, like versus RayOgre, I thought that having a faster Rayquaza was really important, like because at some point his Rayquaza, if he has it, is going to come on the field, and at that point I want to be faster so I can like extreme speed or something. So I actually go for fake out into the Thundurus, which is super interesting because it's probably not what he expected. I could have fake out of the Kyogre there, but I didn't want to just in case like he swaggered. I really didn't want to get swaggered, so I just said, okay, let's play it safe and let's go for a Dragon Ascent into this Kyogre. because I thought it would do a lot of damage, and look at the amount of damage it does. That's actually an enormous amount, and that's way more than I expected. And Lega probably predicting, thinking that he wanted to get some damage on Raichu, and that, like, he probably knew that Rayquaza had Focus Sash, so he just goes for an Origin Pulse, which does a fair amount to both my Pokemon, like, more than I would expect, considering we're in strong winds, but unfortunately it's not enough. So let's look at this turn. We've got Rayquaza and Raichu versus Kyogre and Thundurus. And Raichu's taking a fair amount of damage, and I don't know Thundurus' item off the top of my head, so what can I do? The obvious move here, I think, is Extreme Speed, and like Extreme Speed into Kyogre and Endeavor into Thundurus, because like Thundurus again doesn't threaten any of these Pokemon except for Swagger or Taunt, and that's not like that good. And so actually in this situation, I really just didn't want to overpredict. So I think what I will see what I did, but let's go ahead and skip. Oops, sorry, spoilers. Boop. I'm so sorry, guys. We're just going to watch from here. Okay, so there I was. Rayquaza goes for an Extreme Speed, actually. So that's really interesting because Lega could have switched. But what I did here was I went Extreme Speed into Kyogre. And, as you'll see... Oh, actually, you won't see. So he swaggers my Raichu. So that was actually really clever because my Raichu is specially based. Like, plus 2 Nuzzle is not going to do any damage. And so what I did that turn is I Extreme Speed into Kyogre, and I went for Endeavor into Kyogre as well, knowing that... he couldn't do any, like, Thundurus doesn't threaten any damage here, and so even if he switched to something like Ferrothorn, I would just put it in Dragon Ascent range if I hit with Endeavor, and even though I would take some Iron Barbs damage, so that's why I did that move. Like I was taking a second to think about which Pokemon to send out, and having Raichu at low HP here is really crucial because it's just like Endeavor's so threatening, and being able to put a Pokemon into range is super important. So Lega does send out Rayquaza here. And now I have an interesting choice, right? Because my Rayquaza is faster, right? Let's pause this. My Rayquaza is faster, which is really important. Like, great, my Rayquaza is faster. Maybe if I lower the quality of this, it won't lag. Sorry, guys. We're going to lower the quality a little bit, so maybe it won't lag now. Yes. Okay, so my Rayquaza is still faster because it hasn't Mega Evolved. And I have a lot of incentive to switch out my Raichu, right? Because... Raichu's, not only is it in Extreme Speed range, it's also, like, confused, which is just not ideal at all. So, basically, I could switch out my Raichu, and the obvious switch is to Hitmontop, right? That gives me a lot of options, but if I do, and if Lega reads that, he can definitely, like, Extreme Speed and Thunderbolt into my, or Thunder Wave into my, he can Extreme Speed into my Raichu, he can Protect and Thunder Wave. He has a lot of options, but, oh, that's not what I wanted. No! What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Help! Just wanted to send help. Yeah, let's just skip this turn. Spoilers. So Raichu does. So I do end up switching Raichu out here because Hitmontop, like getting the Intimidate out in Rayquaza, like if he predicted this could go very poorly, and I'm aware of that. But I wanted to save Raichu because once I got rid of this Rayquaza, Raichu is the fastest thing in the world that he could deal with. If I get rid of this Rayquaza, which means that I have a free Endeavor later in the game, which is super important. Like the free Endeavors are very nice. And so he does go for an Extreme Speed, and he does target on Hitmontop, trying to get rid of Raichu. Doesn't want to play any games there, but thankfully Hitmontop doesn't take very much because he intimidated that Rayquaza, and it's going to switch right out of there. And now I believe I take about another 45 seconds to think about what to send in here because I do have the switch to Kyogre, which would be really good because Kyogre can actually get rid of the Thundurus, whereas Raichu just kind of sits there. But let's see. I do end up going for Raichu because I wanted to redirect a potential electric attack. Let's see what he does. Yeah, he does go for Thunder Wave. So if that turn had gone wrong for me, like if I had stayed in with Raichu, I would have lost Raichu and gotten paralyzed Rayquaza. So even though like it was kind of like, keep in mind also that like Lega didn't have the experience at the time of like knowing how I played the team. Right? So, like, it might be easy looking back. Oh, of course, Wolf, like, switched to Hitmontop. Wow, that did a lot of damage. Like, oh, of course, Wolf will switch to Hitmontop. Like, it's so obvious. Like, whatever. But keep in mind that at this point, like, nobody had experience versus the team, and nobody knew what they were really doing versus it, and they weren't aware of how I played it, because Lega hadn't been playing all day. He hadn't been watching my games. So, like, yeah, I know that was kind of an obvious switch to Hitmontop, and, like, you guys probably now are like, okay, like, obviously Wolf's going to switch to Hitmontop, but Lega didn't know that, because he didn't know the team. He might not even have known the eject button on Hitmontop. Yeah, and so I went for the Dragon Ascent. I do end up critical hitting there, but I don't think it's super important because I think Dragon Ascent plus Extreme Speed is going to KO anyways. We can just go ahead and skip some seconds here. His Rayquaza does go for the Protect to cover for the potential Fake Out. I go for the Extreme Speed into Rayquaza, trying to cover for it, and he goes for Swagger into my Rayquaza, but it doesn't work. And okay, that turn was, I actually think that was questionable. Like this, I think this was actually this play. So as you'll notice, his Rayquaza protects, trying to block a Fake Out. and I decided to go for an extreme speed into it to cover like a potential not protect, like just in case he decides to get risky, and a volt switch. And the Thunderous swaggers, but I actually think that a better move here would have been Endeavor into the Thunderous. Like, I know what I was doing. I think like what I wanted to do here is to get into a situation where, as you'll see, we can skip a little bit, but Hitmontop is coming back in here so that I can cover for both the, like, so either he could protect and I could go volt switch and get Hitmontop in, and now I have the turn 2, like, let's skip some time. Now I once again have like fake out and priority, so like that Rayquaza is not threatening, and the Rayquaza is at -2, so I could even go like fake out into Thunderous and like Dragon Descent or Extreme Speed into the Rayquaza slot and like feel pretty safe about it. But I think in the like I can always get rid of that. I can always get rid of that Rayquaza with Feint, and so I think what would have been better is actually actually going for an Endeavor into Thunderous there. But what's done is done. Hitmontop comes out and drops another Intimidate on Rayquaza, so I believe it's at -2 now, which is nice because it means that I can definitely live in Extreme Speed. I really hope this isn't lagging, guys. I can't see it at the moment. It's like the video itself is lagging a little bit. Let's skip some time. So what's the situation? Sorry, I'm just going turn by turn because that's the only way I know how to do it. So, okay, think about this. I can fake out the Rayquaza and it can't protect. I can fake out Rayquaza in Extreme Speed. I can make a read and fake out Thunderous. And like just Extreme Speed into Rayquaza. I can fake out Thunderous and Dragon Ascent into Rayquaza. I have a lot of options, and honestly, I don't know what I did. I have no idea. So, boop. Let's skip some time. Boop. Let's skip some more time. Cool. So what's gonna happen? I don't know. The honest answer is I have no idea. Let's find out. So actually, that's super interesting. I do switch out my Rayquaza here, and I think that's like what's so good about Raichu in this matchup, and the fact that he brought Thunderous is that Lega does switch out Rayquaza here, but that Thunderous can't do anything. Like, it literally can do nothing to my Pokemon at this point. And he does send out Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn is scary. Look at it; it's so cool. Ferrothorn's so cool. Shiny Ferrothorn especially. So I don't want to take any risk here. I just go for. I don't know what I was thinking exactly, but that was actually kind of a clever play, don't you think? Because not only have I, like, it was just so safe. Like, there was no way that, like, even in this situation, sure, like, the worst case scenario happened and he switched out his Rayquaza. I didn't get the KO. I took Iron Barb's damage on Hitmontop. But if you think about it, like, think about what just happened. Like, I covered for the Rayquaza protect or not protect. It didn't protect and it switched out. But now that Thunderous still can't do anything here. Like, literally nothing. It can't do anything at all. And I've got my Raichu in, which means that I can redirect all the electric attacks from Thunderous and go fake out and switch again, like, this next turn, and like fake out into the Ferrothorn, and he can't stop it because his Thunderous doesn't have any move that can stop it. And I cover for the Lightning Rod, so I do get another +1. But Raichu's really, like, not very strong. Raichu, we love you. I love you, Raichu. Don't get me wrong, but Raichu's not, like, very offensively strong, and so +1 Volt Switch really doesn't do that much. As you can see, like, earlier that was a strong wins, but still. So let's go ahead and skip some time. I made my move, waiting on Lega. He needs to decide what to do, because keep in mind, I still have Feint on Hitmontop, which is always an option, and that gets rid of the low lead, but, like, it's not that good because Lega can just go for an Extreme Speed on my Hitmontop if I get a little bit more damage. But once again, I'm getting out of there. I'm saying I do not want to be a part of this party. I will leave now. So I get my Rayquaza back in, reactivating Delta Stream, and I do have this fake out pressure from Raichu. I definitely have that option. I think what happened here is that I was expecting a switch or a protect, because I thought fake out plus close combat was, like, pretty obvious on that Ferrothorn. So Lega actually makes a really good read and does not protect there, and he swaggers my Raichu because he has nothing else to do. And I go for an Endeavor, and I don't hit myself in confusion this time. I get an Endeavor off on that Thunderous, which lowers it to 28 HP, but the Citrus Berry does activate, so it heals a bit back up, and he goes for a Power Whip into Rayquaza, and that was a good move on his part, like, because I think, like, Hitmontop's one of the most threatening Pokemon, because his Rayquaza can Extreme Speed my Raichu, it can Extreme Speed my Rayquaza, especially at this range. I think it's a critical hit, yeah. It can Extreme Speed my Raichu, it can Extreme Speed my Rayquaza, but Hitmontop can Feint it, which means that it can, like, pick up the KO. So maybe that crit earlier didn't matter. Let's take a look at this situation. We've got Rayquaza and Raichu. Rayquaza just came in. Raichu's confused, and, like, very low HP. And one confusion hit will end it, as we saw earlier. It did, like, I think a little over 30 damage earlier with Swagger. So Raichu's not looking too hot, but it does redirect attacks from Thunderous, and Rayquaza can Extreme Speed, but I don't know if it will pick up the KO at this point. It might not. We can also threaten like protect Endeavor with my Raichu, and keep in mind the timer is running pretty low. As you can see here, only 4.5 minutes left. So 13 seconds left on the clock. Let's see what happens. It's a pretty tense situation. I don't like. the game isn't over by any chance because so many of my Pokemon are low HP, and because I don't really have, like I said, I don't really have great ways of dealing with that Ferrothorn. So I do switch our Raichu back into Hitmontop, gonna get another Intimidate off, start covering for more stuff. Hitmontop comes in here, which is very nice. And what's really important here is that Lega can't switch anything in unless he thinks that he can get in without taking an attack. And I think that's super important because it means that these Pokemon are stuck on the field. I do go for an Extreme Speed here, probably expecting to live a Gyro Ball and pick up the KO with Extreme Speed, but it doesn't work. But he does end up swaggering my Rayquaza because my Thundurus barely survives. This turn could go very badly, like very, very, very badly. And I am +2 Rayquaza now, so Lega's living dangerously. Swagger is a terrifying move, and he does try to pick up the KO on the Raichu. It was a good move, like it was a good idea. I understand why he did it, but now he's in a tough situation because there's like 45 seconds left in the, or there's 3 minutes, like a little bit over 3 minutes left on the clock, and that Thundurus can't protect itself. And if you think about it, that's huge. The fact that that Thundurus cannot protect itself is so important because I can go for a safe fake out and he can't do anything to stop it, which puts me up another Mon. And I also threatened this +2 Dragon Ascent KO with my Rayquaza, so it's looking pretty good for me at the moment, but it's not over. 2 minutes 40 seconds remaining, but I'm about to pick up a KO, but in return, Lega can definitely get a KO. So I do switch Rayquaza out. I'm not feeling like taking any chances with my Confusion, and finally, RayOgre does come in. And I think the thought process there is, I don't want to switch to Raichu, but I do want Rayquaza out, like, off the field, and like, getting RayOgre in is really, really, really nice because it's at full HP. I don't expect him to Power Whip that slot because I think the obvious move there is to just go for a Dragon Ascent because, like, I'm already up, like, I'm going to be up another Mon, and, you know, it could pay off really well. I could Oko the Ferrothorn, and I do go for Fake Out onto the Thundurus because there's, like, no reason not to. I can just pick up the free KO because he can't protect. And he goes for a Power Whip into... He does read that, actually. So he Power Whips into my Rayquaza, not worried at all about the potential Dragon Ascent, about Rayquaza potentially staying in. Like I said, I know that you're switching out. I've got the read on you. I'm going to stop you. And Rayquaza does come in here, but at this point, if you think about it, this game is over because I can go Feint Ice Beam this turn, or Feint Large Spout if I want, and guaranteed pick up the KO on Rayquaza, even if he, like, Extreme Speed has the same priority as Feint and Rayquaza's faster, but in the worst case scenario, I'm, like, regardless of what he does, I guarantee get the KO on Rayquaza this turn, and that puts me up with 4 Pokemon to 2, with my 2 being Raichu and Rayquaza in the back, which gives me a safe Fake Out and Swords Dance, and then, or like, Endeavor. Like, depending on when they come in, I can Endeavor and then bring in Rayquaza, or I can Fake Out Swords Dance and then Dragon Ascent. So the game is, like, really looking locked up at this point, but let's see if, like, I can bring it back. Maybe he has some crazy tech up his sleeve. Maybe, like, I don't know. Maybe I miss Ice Beam. Maybe it's Bright Predator, Focus Sash, Rayquaza. You never know at this point. Like, Worlds is crazy. So the timer is ticking down. Tick, 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 tick. 8 seconds left to make my move. 1 minute left on the clock. This game is over, but I need to think about, like, I have to, like, it's easy looking back to realize what you had to do, but in the moment it's definitely more difficult. So that's the match. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was informative. I hope that you learned a bit about, like, my thought process going through that. Once again, that game was about to go to timer, but there was, like, it was a guaranteed win for me anyway, regardless of the timer. So if you hate the timer, I'm sorry. I'm not that sorry, but that game was over regardless. Good game to Lega. This is game 1. I will be uploading game 2 and maybe game 3 as well, depending on some stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, if you'd like to see if you enjoyed this content, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I really love when you guys subscribe to me. It makes me feel good about myself. So if you don't mind doing that, that'd be great. If you want to help a Wolfey out, that'd be awesome. If you like this kind of content, I have one other stream set that were not streamed, but I have one other set that was recorded but not streamed. So if you're interested in that, I'd be happy to upload that. Other than that, I think that's mostly it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys